You want to build an epic Corvette Class ship in the new No Man's Sky Voyagers update, and to do that you want access to all of the rarer parts you can't just buy. I can get you those parts you want. Just remember to bring the stuff. I'm talking comments, likes, hitting that subscribe button. I don't come cheap. I'm talking minimum 3 clicks on that mouse tune. Okay, now you've fulfilled your part of the deal, let's go through every way you can farm rare Corvette parts, with some handy tips thrown in. The first is one you can just keep going at without much thought, which makes it perfect for a hefty grind session. That's farming salvageable scrap. These formerly vendor trash treasure only points of interest are now a fantastic source of Corvette modules. To find salvageable scrap, just scan planets from space and look for salvageable scrap on the hover over tooltip. If it's on there, it means the planet has those buried all over it. Voyagers actually increased the amount of planet with the buried scrap, so it's easier than ever to find a place to farm modules. With the planet found, just head over, land and use your analysis visor to look for this symbol. It's basically buried technology, but golden. Once at the scrap site, just unearth it with the terrain manipulator and use your mining beam to shoot the protrusions. These scraps will have a main body with 0 to 4 or so protrusions. You'll need to get rid of the protrusions to be able to mine the body. Formerly, this had a chance to summon corrupted sentinels to attack you, but this has been taken out in this update. As well, it doesn't make all that much sense. Different planets will have different densities of scrap all over them, so if you find one that has multiple spots visible from one location, it could very well be a real nice planet to keep coming back to for these. Corvette modules farming spot number 2 are Derelict Freighters. I've done a few videos on Derelict Freighters and really not much has changed regarding them. They still follow the same rules, only what drops from their loot has been added to over time. You find them in one of 2 ways. Firstly, you can find them randomly through space points of interest. These are those alarms that go off when you pulse, telling you to exit pulse and investigate something. One of these things can be a Derelict Freighter, though it's super rare. Space POIs are repeatable and based on the time spent in pulse from the load point in that system, whether you warped in or loaded in. The easier way is to build an emergency signal scanner from a scrap dealer found on space stations. The first of the day is 5 mil, second 10, then 20, then 30, at which it caps. So if you want a lot, you'll either need a lot of cash, which isn't tricky these days, check this guide on making billions per hour, or buy a few every day and do it super casually. Once you've done your first derelict, you'll also be able to get a free signal scanner from Helios every week. This resets at I believe 7 AM UTC every Monday, though it's been a few years since I found that in the files, so it might be a few hours off. With the scanner, just use it and start pulsing in your ship to eventually get the derelict to pop up as a POI alarm, then land and run it. I won't go into too much detail on derelicts as it's a sizable subject, but for running them you should be wary of ones with slimy organic growth in them, as this means pulsating sacks which on movement will explode and release a bunch of angry space bugs that'll shoot you. If you're low armor on permadeath, they could kill you very quickly. Neutron cannon is generally the best thing to shoot against them, because you can just shoot it once to break it, then shoot it right after to kill everything that pops up from it. You'll also want at least one cold hazard protection upgrade, as they are freezing, some are even extreme cold and so will kill you quickly. On board there are heaters spread out that you can turn on and rest by. As you progress, the doorways will have either a white sign or a pink sign above them. Pink means it's a dead end beyond the door, white means continue. For maximum loot, do pink doors first, then backtrack to white. The Corvette module parts will drop from the final terminal if you choose to have it fabricate them. I tested by doing the same derelict twice and choosing to fabricate Corvette modules. The first resulted in 3 of the same, the second gave me 1 of one type and 3 of another. So not only is the type random, but also the amount to a degree. That brings me to consistency of Derelict Freighters. Derelict Freighters are way more consistent than you may expect. Every system has a single Derelict Freighter, and by that I mean it is the exact same layout with the same enemies and the same loot container positions. You can do this derelict as many times as you want and it'll always be the same in that system. The loot that drops from containers in it will be random, or at least it is not generally possible or reasonable to trigger events in a way needed to make the loot consistent. The consistent loot in it is the technology reward from the final engineering terminal. This reward, while a random of the 7 fleet technology upgrades, will always be the same class, so if it drops as S-class, it always will from doing the derelict in that system. Also the hyperdrive and fuel efficiency, which are the only 2 of the 7 techs that have a stat range they can drop within, will be a consistent value within that range from that derelict. Lastly, the final terminal tech class and stat value will also be consistent when doing any derelict in that system's coordinates in every other galaxy, meaning you can try different versions of that system, or so to speak, by just dialing the portal address in a different galaxy to find the easiest layout, or at least one without horrible space grips. Thus ends the crash course in Derelict Freighters. Another option for Corvette parts is a rare drop from destroying pirates, but holding a bloody carnival of pirates is easier said than done. Sure, you can find pirates to kill through missions to hunt them, but honestly, as it's a rare drop, it's likely not too great of an option for farming. I would just keep this in mind, and when you warp into a system with a freighter battle, don't hesitate to destroy them all and fly into the dropped canister to ensure you don't miss loot. As with salvage frigate modules, you can obtain Corvette modules from some freighter cargo pods. These are specifically the cargo pods on large system freighters and the floating cargo around them. The tactic here is to get close enough to see what is in the pod before destroying it to get the contents. The distance you can see what's inside is tied to your weapon's range, so using anything but the positron ejector is probably fine. Lastly, you will want to only shoot cargo pods in outlaw systems, as this will not result in being attacked by the fuzz. It will, however, still cause the freighter to fight back, as well as drop your reputation with a race of the system. This can be mitigated using a passport at the system station console, but honestly, it's a pain. Crashed freighter containers are a far more peaceful solution. Not only do you not need to fight anything, but it's also incredibly cheap. Finding crashed freighters is as easy as finding crashed ships. There are a few methods, but honestly the easiest is to use distress signal maps. You can buy these en masse from the cartographer on a space station with navigation data. Navigation data is best procured in bulk by checking different trade posts until you find one that sells them. Looking in 3-star economy systems will ensure the trade post sells a good amount of them. Just be sure to place a base there so you can grab a stack whenever you need more. With the distress signal maps obtained, use 5 of them to get all of the potential waypoints it can give, then fly to the crashed freighter. Crashed freighters have buried containers all over. You can see where by looking through your analysis visor. The locations are always the same over all crashed freighters, so over time you'll just remember where they all are. One important thing to note is that these containers will always have the same loot, so if another player comes here and loots the same container, you'll both receive the same loot. And if you wait long enough for the cache to overwrite the fact you looted it and so can loot it again, you'll get identical loot. This is useful to know, as if you find one that drops a good Corvette part, you can note the coordinates via your visor, as well as the planet's portal address via photo mode, and also the galaxy you're in, if not Euclid, and share it with the world, allowing them to get the same part with ease. Once you've cleared the containers, just use another map. Provided you don't go to the other waypoints you got from using 5 maps before, you can just now use 1 for each additional crash freighter. Missions can reward Corvette modules, yet we don't currently know which missions and what frequency they will pop up as. So I'd recommend just checking every mission board you go past to see if there are any offering Corvette parts as rewards. If there are, then swish, grab and complete. I would recommend it to be specifically Nexus missions, though also maybe missions produced by the new Mission Radar, a mission board you can build in Corvette Class ships. Lastly, we have Frigate Expeditions. These can bring back Corvette modules in their loot. However, we don't yet know which type of Frigate Expeditions can bring them back. For example, salvage frigate modules have up to a 20% chance of being rewarded from industrial type frigate missions, meaning if you want them, only do industrial. But as we don't know which will drop Corvette modules, I'd say either do all, or maybe industrial and exploration. It's tough to know just yet. There we have it, every place to farm rare Corvette modules you can't just purchase with ease. Worth 3 clicks, right? Keep an eye out for more No Man's Sky goodness. Peace.